What if the most profound thing your dog desperately needs from you today has absolutely nothing to do with buying better food, buying more expensive toys, or mastering a new command? Right now, somewhere in your house, your dog is watching you and waiting for something you've probably never thought to give them. And what if you have been completely missing it every single day, not because you are a careless owner, but because human psychology naturally primes us to look right past it? Here is the heartbreaking reality of the domestic dog. Most dogs spend their entire lives, from puppyhood to their senior years, waiting for their human to understand one specific fundamental rule of their emotional world. And most owners go their entire lives never realizing they are accidentally breaking that rule every day. Not because they don't love their dog, but because the pet industry has trained us to treat dogs like human toddlers rather than the brilliant, sensitive apex animals they actually are. By the end of this short video, that disconnect disappears forever. Stay with me, because when we get to number 4, it is going to fundamentally change the way you look at your dog's face. Almost every owner we hear from tells us the same thing. They had no idea this was even an option they were denying their pet. Let's start with number 1. Stop turning their only outdoor experience into a military march. You know this routine. You look at the clock, grab the leash, and head out the door. You have a route in mind. You have a destination. And the moment your dog stops to put their nose against a patch of dead grass, you give that slight, subconscious tug on the leash. Come on, buddy, let's keep moving. You think you are giving them exercise. Your dog is having a completely different experience. In canine biology, a walk isn't just physical exertion, it is cognitive consumption. A dog's olfactory cortex is roughly 40 times larger than ours. When they sniff a tree, they aren't just smelling dirt. They are reading the local newspaper. They are learning who passed by, their health status, their stress levels, and the ecosystem around them. When you constantly pull them away to maintain your pace, it is the psychological equivalent of someone locking you in a room with a fascinating book, but slamming it shut every time you try to read a sentence. Studies on so-called scent walks, where the dog chooses the direction and the pace of the sniffing, have linked this kind of freedom to a noticeable drop in pulse rate and stress hormones compared to dogs forced into a strict heel. The fix is simple. Separate exercise walks from decompression walks. Twice a week, put them on a longer line, step back, and let them lead. Give them the autonomy to explore. Because a dog who is allowed to gather information is a dog whose nervous system finally feels safe enough to relax. 2. Stop demanding affection on your terms while ignoring theirs. This one happens in almost every household. Your dog is lying quietly on their bed, completely relaxed, or perhaps asleep. You walk into the room, look at how cute they are, and you feel a sudden wave of affection. You slide down next to them, wrap your arms around them, and start kissing their head. It feels beautiful to you. It feels like love. But to your dog, you have just initiated an unprovoked, high-energy boundary invasion. In canine social structures, physical closeness is earned, mutual, and almost always preceded by subtle consent signals. When a human constantly overrides a dog's resting state to fulfill their own emotional needs, it creates a subtle, chronic friction. Try the 5-second consent test instead. The next time you want to interact with your dog, sit a few feet away from them. Call their name softly, pat your leg, and invite them into your space. If they get up, shake their body, and come over to lean against you, they're saying yes. If they look away, yawn, or stay right where they are, they are politely saying, "I love you, but not right now." When you start honoring that boundary, something miraculous happens. Because they know you won't force closeness, they will start seeking you out twice as often on their own. But before we get to the one that changes everything, this next one is the mistake almost every loving owner makes without realizing it. 3. Stop creating ghost exits. Think about how you leave your house. If you know your dog gets anxious when you depart, you might try to slip out quietly. You wait until they are distracted in another room, or you quietly grab your keys, slip through the front door, and lock it before they realize you're gone. You do it to spare them the drama of a goodbye, but from your dog's perspective, this is terrifying. 1 minute their primary source of safety exists, and the next millisecond, they have vanished into thin air without warning. This triggers hypervigilance. Your dog learns that they cannot afford to lose sight of you for even a moment, because you might disappear again. This is a primary driver of separation anxiety. Research tracking canine heart rates during owner departures has found that dogs given a calm, predictable 3-second departure cue tend to settle into the owner's absence noticeably faster than dogs left abruptly. Don't sneak out. Look at your dog. Give them a consistent phrase like, "I'll be back." Toss them a high-value treat and walk out. You are giving them context. You are telling them that your absence is a planned, safe event, not a random act of abandonment. 4. Give them emotional consistency when your world falls apart. This is the one we promised would hit the hardest, and it is the single thing your dog has been waiting for their entire life. Dogs do not possess the cognitive framework to understand human concepts like a bad day at the office, a financial crisis, a fight with a partner, or a traffic jam. They cannot read your emails, but they can read your micro-expressions, your vocal pitch, and the exact level of tension in your muscles. When you come home stressed, angry, or emotionally depleted, your dog's internal alarm bells go off. They see a storm brewing in the person they rely on for survival, but they have no idea why. And here is the mistake most of us make. We either take our frustration out on them by snapping over minor misbehaviors, or we completely shut down and ignore them. Research into canine stress hormones has repeatedly found that a dog's cortisol levels tend to mirror their owners over time. They absorb your emotional wreckage. The thing your dog is begging for is for you to be their anchor, even when your own world is chaotic. When you walk through that door after a terrible day, take a deep breath. Drop your shoulders, drop your baggage. Look at the one creature on earth who loves you unconditionally, and let your relationship with them be the one place that remains safe, predictable, and calm. They don't need you to be perfect. They just need to know that the version of you they love doesn't change based on a world they can't see. 5. Let them be a dog before they are a companion. We brought dogs into our modern, concrete worlds and asked them to do something incredibly difficult. We asked them to stop acting like animals. We don't want them to bark. We don't want them to dig. We don't want them to chase. And we don't want them to get dirty. We expect them to act like polite roommates who happen to have fur. But your dog still has primal ancestral needs wired into their DNA. They need to rip things apart. They need to dig in the dirt. They need to use their teeth and their muscles. If you don't give them a safe, legal outlet for those natural canine behaviors, they will find an illegal one, like chewing your drywall or tearing up your couch. Give them a dedicated digging box in the yard. Give them cardboard boxes to shred to pieces on the kitchen floor. Let them get muddy on a trail run. Your dog has been waiting their whole life for you to realize that loving them means embracing their inner animal, not trying to train it completely out of them. Your dog's life is tragically short compared to ours. They get roughly 10 to 15 years, and every single second of that time is spent revolving around you. They are watching you, learning you, and waiting for you to truly see them. If this video gave you a new perspective, or if it made you rethink the way you looked at your dog today, please do one thing before you close this screen. Click the like button, subscribe so you never miss our deep dives into canine psychology, and leave a comment below telling me, which of these 5 things are you going to change for your dog tonight? Because the moment you start speaking their language, their entire world opens up. And that is a gift they have been waiting for their whole life. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.